Oh, wow. That is stunning. That is one of the best daiquiris I've had in a long, long while. Welcome back, rum fans. My name's Steve the Barman, and I'm here to help you on your rum journey by mainly focusing on rums under £50. In this video, we're going to be having some fun because I've got the entire Plantation range under 50 quid, all their rums under 50 quid in one big daiquiri off. Because I want to know, if you were just going to buy one of these rums, one of the Plantation rums, to make your favourite daiquiri cocktail, which one would you pick? And will there even be a best one? Will it be a three-way shootout at the end? Now look, full disclosure, I'm sure many of you that watch my channel will know this because I've said this time and time again. I am a white rum daiquiri fan. I love my white rums, and I've traditionally gone into kind of like the lighter Cuban style of rums, Ron Cube being one of my favorites. But however, Plantation 3 stars is in the next level down for me. I absolutely adore that. So I'm going to use this as the benchmark. Are any of these going to be any better than that? Bearing in mind that's about £20 as well, so that's an absolute bargain. But for me, that's what a daiquiri is all about, kind of that lighter tropical style with a hint of vanilla coming through in there. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous daiquiri rum. But you know, I have to do the experiment because I know many of you, especially my membership community, I know many of you like your, I'm smiling because I'm going to say it, like your moody daiquiris. That was coined by Windy. Basically, moody daiquiris translate into aged rum daiquiris. I like my lighter, young rums in daiquiris, but I know many of you like your aged rums. Now, it's also worth sort of talking about Plantation Rum just very, very quickly, because I know there's many of you really kind of fresh on your rum journey that keep reaching out in the comments. So thank you very much for that. So just to kind of very loosely talk about Plantation, they are a French brand, Maison Franc. They're a cognac house. And what Alexandre Gabriel does, their master blender, he essentially goes around the world buying up different rums. He's got they kind of part own the West Indian rum distillery in Barbados as well. So they have got their own distillery, plus shares in sort of Jamaican distilleries and other distilleries around the world. But they will essentially buy up different rums. Alexandre Gabriel, dumbing this right down, we'll then take them back to France, kind of blend them up, and whatever they've had tropical aging in the Caribbean, in Fiji, in Africa, wherever, Australia, wherever they've come from, they will also have secondary aging in France in cognac barrels. That is essentially what Plantation Rum is all about. In front of me, what I've got, essentially their two ranges, okay? We've got their classic bartender range there, the cheaper rums that you kind of designed for your well, designed for just making cocktails and that. And then we've got the entry level sipping rums in this sort of category. Notice I have, even though it's not Plantation, it is Maison Franc, I have actually got their spiced rum out to play as well, because I know many of you do like spiced rums. Now I know Plantation also has a lot of haters in the rum world as well. Me, personally, I love them. I love what they're about. I love their rums. Yes, I fully appreciate there are way better sipping rums than what they've got out in their range as well. But I love what they stand for. They are one of the most open and honest rum brands out there. They tell you exactly how much sugar's in there. They tell you all about the aging in different barrels and all that sort of stuff. All about the esters that they use in the Jamaican rums. All that stuff. They are open and honest. So whatever you think about Plantation Rum, you cannot take away from what they bring to the rum community. Essentially, they tell you all the tiny little details that many rum brands kind of sort of skip over or kind of have their own marketing BS around, basically. Now, I just want to point out, this isn't a paid promotion or anything like this. We've done the Havana video where I did Havana rum and cokes. I've got more kind of sort of plans to do ranges like that. But many of you, I know so many of you love the Plantation range, but don't know where to kind of start because there's so many in that under £50 range. So even though my palate is developing and I'm even getting into kind of agricoles and stuff like that now, sugar cane juice rums, even though kind of my palate is developing, I will always have a soft spot for Plantation. It's kind of where I loosely sort of found out about the different styles of rums. So come on in, blurb over, let's dive into the daiquiris. You might not be able to see them, but they're all lined up behind the bottles here. I've already made them. 5-to-1 ratio I've gone for this, or sort of 5-to-1.5 if I'm being brutally honest. So 5 parts rum, 2 parts lime juice, 1.5 parts sugar syrup. Shaken down really hard, epic chill. They've been sitting down here for about 15 minutes or so and they're still icy cold. That is what a daiquiri is all about, ice cold. No one wants a room temperature or warm daiquiri. They need to be as cold as possible. So we're going to start off with the Plantation 3 stars. The industry standard. It should be, I know many bars will use sort of Havana 3-year-old as their kind of go-to house white rum for daiquiris and mojitos. Me personally, I think every bar should swap up to Plantation 3 stars. I think that is where it's at. Your mojitos, your daiquiris, even a rum and coke, that does really well. Next up, we go for the Plantation OD. I wouldn't necessarily call this a daiquiri rum. For me, more of a rum and coke or a cocktail rum, original dark. That's what the OD stands for. It's pretty decent. It is pretty decent. It hasn't got the complexity. It hasn't got the lightness that I personally like from a daiquiri. But it's pretty decent. Warm, sunny afternoon. You're going to be all right with that. If I'm giving that, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 because that's my kind of control. All right, so I think that's pretty good. I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. I'm then going to give this probably about a 5 out of 10. It's nowhere near as good as the 3 stars, but it's pretty good. So 5 out of 10 for that. Now we dive into the OFTD. I can't think of a time where I've ever had this as a daiquiri. Definitely not in my thinking for a daiquiri rum. It is a glorious rum. I love it. Perhaps more Mai Tai than daiquiri, but it's actually pretty good. It's got more sort of caramel notes, more molasses, more honey. More honey vibes come off that. It's not that light, crisp daiquiri that I really, really love and adore. But again, that's not bad. For me, actually above the Plantation OD there. If that's a 5, this has to be, I'm not going to go too overboard, it has to be about a 6. It's really, really good. But it's not living up to the 3 stars. Now look, the controversial choice in this one, well, the 2 controversial choices in this one will be these 2 rums. Let's be honest. Plantation Stiggins Fancy, the pineapple rum, it is rum first and foremost. It's not flavoured up with like E-numbers or anything like that. It is fresh pineapple in essentially that rum. Those 2 rums, that's what that is. Look, I know exactly how this is going to go down. It's stunning. It is such a great daiquiri. And if I want something with a little bit of a fruitier twist, I'm going to pick this one. It's equal for me. It's an 8 out of 10, but for different reasons. Okay, that is the clean, crisp, light daiquiri that I want. This is the fun, clean, crisp, light daiquiri, but with a bit of flavour to it. It's in a great daiquiri. It's not better than the 3 stars, but it is equally as good in a different way. I love that. Now, the CANEROCK, the spiced rum, launched 2022. I think it's launched this year. I'm sure it is. I know it is. Again, I've never had this as a daiquiri, I don't think. That's really good. Wow. That the coconut really comes out in that. I'm going to go straight in with this 7. For me, it's sweeter. So let me clarify this. It's a kind of 7 runner-up to that, not a 7 runner-up to that. It's if you like your fun, flavourful daiquiris, bit of spice, the coconut in there, that's really, really good. Do you know what? That's actually going to give that a run for money. It's sweeter. It is sweeter, so you could probably dial back the sugar a little bit for some of you, but that's a really good daiquiri. So that's the classic bartender range. There is one point to note here as well that I should have mentioned. There is 1 rum missing for this, but I have clarified this. I was going to get it, but I didn't bother in the end. The Plantation Smoky, the Stiggins Smoky. It is a one-off, a limited release, but they have made a ton of it, so it won't run out for a while, but essentially it is a limited run. I wanted to focus on rums that will be permanently available, so that's why the smoky formula Stiggins is not there. The same goes for the Grand Reserve in this range. The Grand Reserve, for those of you watching in Europe and in the US and in Canada, the Grand Reserve is not a UK product. We have the Plantation, the Barbados 5-year-old instead. Well then, so let's dive into the signature range. We're going up in price here, late 20s, sort of mid to high 20s, right up to the £50 beast. And these guys are going to be sort of 20s up to, well, that's 35 quid, and that's around 30 quid. But you got the two there around about the 20s. So let's dive in. This should be the Gran Añejo, Guatemala and Belize. Colin still really, really like this. That is really, really good. I don't know where to go with the score for that. I'm going 7.5. It is so close to being the white rum. It's light, it's crisp. It just isn't as light and as floral as I like for white rums, but that is a strong 7.5 for me out of 10 in a daiquiri. Right, the Barbados. I kind of like that as well. It's sitting heavier for me. That is an easy 7. An easy 7. For me, more character than the OD, but I would still prefer the Plantation 3 stars over that. But it is very, very good. I understand why a lot of people will love that as a daiquiri. Just, I keep going back to it. That's where I sit. Now, the Zymaca, the Jamaican Beast. Again, that's really good. Not kind of what I want. It's got the Jamaican notes at the end, which I don't really like in a daiquiri. That sort of banana funk come out. It's not me for a daiquiri. That said, I do like, hopefully you'll see it on camera, the Kingston 62, and I do like the Rum Bar Silver for the Jamaican. But that, if that's a 7, I've got to go down for 6. Right, the Plantation Fiji. I love Fiji. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Light, clean, crisp. I might actually go for an 8. I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. For me, that sits on par with that for a different reason. As again, that's not as light and as sort of white rum daiquiris are just a class apart for me. But that is a flipping good sort of aged rum daiquiri. I like that. Let's move on to the last one, the Plantation XO 20th anniversary release, 50 quid a bottle. I mean, it's good. It is really, really tasty. For 50 quid, I'm going to go back to the Guatemala and Belize. The Guatemala and Belize for me is better than that. So I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. So to sum up, look, all of these rums work in a daiquiri. And that I wouldn't have been like that 6 months ago. I would have very, very firmly been in that camp 6 months ago. I still am. I still prefer that. But that's a great shout. That's a great shout. I really, really like the Guatemala and Belize as well. I'm surprised that the OFTD really works as well. But for me, because I like those lighter, fruitier styles of daiquiri, my top picks, 1, 2, and the pineapple Stiggins Fancy. So if you enjoyed that, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which Plantation rum you would pick out in a daiquiri. Are you at 3 stars, or would you go one of these?